Hey everybody, I'm getting ready to go to Ontario, Northwest Ontario, back into the bush for opening weekend of fishing season. And I'm pretty excited about this. I'm going into a lake I've only been into twice. I've only fished it once. I went in and explored it on a four-wheeler one time, then went back in August of 2018, last fall, and my son Dawson and I went in there and fished for muskies and only caught northerns. Now, I was told that there's muskies in this lake, but we know that it's got really good northern pike fishing and excellent smallmouth bass fishing. We did not catch any muskies, so it's pretty likely that there aren't any muskies in this lake, even though quite a few of the lakes around it have muskies in them, and even two lakes that are connected to it by a creek have muskies in them. But that's just kind of the way it is up there. You just never know. So I've also been told by someone who was in there quite a few years ago, I think maybe 15 years ago, they said they did really good on walleye. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to spend 3 days in there, and I'll show you a little bit more about it here. Okay, this part of Northwest Ontario, as you can see, there's lots of lakes in here, and this road right here is a paved road, and then I will turn off right here on a gravel road and follow this up here, clear up through here. This is about 7 miles to this lake here, which is the absolute best muskie fishing lake in the world, bar none. You'll be seeing more about this lake. Okay, and then I'm going to turn off here, and I'll have to ford this creek right here with my truck. Taking my little Ford Ranger bush truck in there, and then back in here. This is a pretty decent road. Any four-wheel drive vehicle could make it down there if it's got good ground clearance. I'm not saying you could take an all-wheel drive minivan or something like that in there, but it's any truck can get back in there. This road here goes back into this lake, which is one I've never fished. I've heard it's phenomenal for walleyes. But then this is my turn off right here, and I got a cross right there where there's a beaver dam. And this road is pretty decent because it was logged in there about 10 to 15 years ago. And I'll go back in through here to this intersection right here. Now, if you look at this real close, you can see there are lines. And so whenever you can see the trees, those are replants from logging. So you know it's been less than 15 years ago or so that they logged in there. Now, last time I went in there, I parked right here, unloaded a four-wheeler, and then drove the four-wheeler all the way down here, down to the lake shore right there. That's about a mile and a half, excuse me. And at that time I had a full-size truck, and I didn't want to try to make it in there with a truck, but it's even pretty rough with a four-wheeler. But this time I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to try to pull my boat in there with my little truck. And that road is not too bad until you hit this area right here, and then this is like that section right there. From there down to the lake, it's about a half mile, and it is like this, and it's very steep. It's all gravel and loose sand, so it's probably going to be a struggle to get out of there. And because literally hardly anyone ever goes back in there, if I get stuck in there, I've got about a 20-mile walk to where I could get help or get cell service. But there's a nice beach in there, there's a nice camping spot, and then this lake, it's a good-sized lake. I don't know, it's probably 1,000 acres, I suppose, and it's got northern pike, smallmouth bass, and supposedly walleye. So I intend to go in there and fish for 3 days. I'm going to concentrate 1 day on northerns, and then I'm going to concentrate the second day on walleyes, and then the third day I'm going to concentrate on trying to catch smallmouth bass. And I know there's a lot of smallmouth bass in there because we actually caught them on musky baits, and we saw groups. In one point we saw like 7 smallmouth bass just around the boat. It's a very clear lake, so you can see the bottom in probably 6 to 7 feet, and you can really see the fish down in there. So that's my plan for opening weekend 2019 of Ontario's fishing season. So I'm pretty excited about it. Stay tuned. The video, there'll be 3-part video, 1 northerns, 1 walleyes, and 1 smallmouth bass. I'll also be doing some catch and cook. I'm going to show you how to make poor man's lobster with northern pike, and I'm going to show you how to do a really cool way to cook walleyes in aluminum foil over a campfire. So this should be fun. I'm looking forward to having you along on this trip.